What is up, you guys? It's Tuesdays on my channel, which means we're going to talk about a movie. And today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite horror movies ever, Cabin in the Woods. So, Cabin in the Woods is a horror film that was written in 3 days by Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard. Joss Whedon, you may know, who did Buffy, The Avengers, just some of those small things. And Drew Goddard, who you may not know, but he helped Joss with like a lot of those things. And he also was the showrunner for Daredevil for a while on Netflix. So, Cabin in the Woods is a spoof, but kind of glorification of horror. Because it kind of like pokes fun, like, oh hey, this is like the kind of stereotypes they have in like all these horror films, but here's kind of like paying homage to it. So we start in this lab. Basically, they're gonna sacrifice some 20-something-year-olds and sacrifice it to a god so that way they don't destroy the earth. Because don't want that happening. So you kind of get like they're doing it because they have to kind of thing. It's kind of messed up that they're killing people to make them sacrifices, but you know what you're gonna do. If you're gonna save the world, you gotta kill a few people. They start getting everything ready. They start taking bets of like which monsters are gonna be the ones that kill the 20-something-year-olds, and because it's like this whole big thing where like they're not the only laboratory that does this. It's like all over the world. They all suck apparently, and usually the American one is the one that does pretty well. Japan does decent apparently, but they do some weird shit over there. We get introduced to our 20-something-year-olds, and like all horror movies, they have the general tropes. You got the pothead, or in this movie's case, the fool, kind of the butt of all the jokes, and it's just kind of like the friend who's just kind of there. You have the smart, sweet, sensitive guy who is the scholar. You have the hoe, which got the hoe. And you also get the virgin. They kind of have to take what they can, because they got the girl who's like not really like a slut, but she had a thing with the teacher apparently. That was the thing. But they were like, eh, close enough. And also, of course, you get the jock, who is played by Chris Hemsworth, by the way. So this was Thor before he was Thor. Yeah, so Thor is this big, bad, muscly jock who is in this horror film. So, yeah. They get in an RV and they head out to this cabin in the woods. Along the way, they get to this gas station where they just want some gas, way they can make their way up. And of course, there's gotta be like that creepy guy who's working with the lab, and he's like, makes them feel uncomfortable and gets them on edge a little bit. Because that's his job, get them on edge. Because, you gotta spook them a little bit, have some fun with it. So they finally make it to the cabin, they get settled in, and they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. And they're just all chilling, having a good time, drinking, and playing Truth or Dare, kind of joking around like all sorts of weird stuff they did back in the day. And, of course, you got the hoe who's just, like, dared to make out with the wolf taxidermy head, and she's like, okay, and she makes out with the wolf head. It's weird but hot at the same time. It's one of those you just gotta see it kind of thing. And the laboratory people are like, okay, it's time to have some fun, so they kind of like make a little noise where the little secret door is to get to the basement, and everyone's like, ooh, what's down there? And like, of course, like the pothead's like, I don't think that's a good idea, man. It's not a good idea. And of course, like, don't be a baby. Let's go down there. Let's see what's down there. It should be fun. And you get into this room full of just different relics and just little nuanced kind of items that kind of represent each of the monsters that are within the laboratory. And they all start looking at different ones, because each one gets attracted to a different thing. But then like one of them's like, oh hey, I found a diary, and they're like all just like stop what they're doing, put all their stuff down, and she reads the words, and of course it's like, that's not a good idea, don't read it, and they read it anyway. Shocker. They actually had a lot more things that you can't see on camera, whether it was just off frame or it was just too dark or whatever, but they had like, I think it's like 100 or so different items just to kind of like reference different things, and I thought it was a cool little tidbit in the commentary. Yes, I listened to the commentary. I always listen to Joss Whedon's commentaries. They're so good. But anyway, sorry, should have put a nerd alert in front of that. So after they read the diary, they release the family of zombies that it represented, and they're all released into the cabin's little area, and that's when you know stuff's about to go down. And they all like, okay, let's call it night, and Jock and the Ho are like, oh, we're gonna go for a walk outside, and they like go walk around, and they're just like, oh, that's kind of cute, and then like the lab people are like, spray some pheromone, and they're just like, ooh, I'm getting kind of turned on, let's do this. And then they start having sex in the moonlight in the middle of a forest, which means, you know, at least one of them is about to die. And guess what? The Ho dies. She gets decapitated while she's naked. It's always the best way to go. Gotta give the gods a show. Because of course the gods are, for some reason, watching everything go down instead of just like, being like, where's the blood? Okay. No, they're just like, ooh, yes, boobies. Yes. What if, whoa. Okay, random thought. What if the gods are just movie viewers? I know we can't exactly like destroy the world physically, but we like it whenever these people die, and if the Virgin dies, oh my god. Okay, we're gonna come back to this conspiracy. Okay. But anyway, so Chris Hemsworth runs back to the cabin. He's like, oh my god, we gotta attack her. And they're like, oh god, oh god. And while they're all freaking out trying to hide in the cabin, Mr. Pothead's like realizing, oh wait, our rooms are bugged. Oh god. And then of course he gets like attacked, and we assume he's dead. Then they're like, oh god, we need to get out of here. So they all get up in the RV, they book it, and there's only one way in and out of the cabin, and it's through a little tunnel. A lot of people are like, wait, did we blow a tunnel after they got... Aw, crap. They forget to blow the tunnel, so they're like freaking out, trying to like, oh god, we need to blow a tunnel before they get out of there. And at the last second, when they're getting into the tunnel, boom! And they blow up the tunnel, crumbles around them, they get out of there, and they're like, uh-oh, we're screwed. And then Chris is like, no, we're not. See that ravine right there? I can jump it. So he gets on the dirt bike that he has on the RV, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go get some help. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna get out of this. Vroom, vroom. And then force field. Yeah, there's a force field around it too, so there's no way for them to get out of there. So we're left with the Scholar and the Virgin. And they are like, oh god, we need to figure out something. So they get back in the RV, they go back to the cabin, but shocker, one of the family members of the zombie family like kills the Scholar dude, and they like crash into the little lake nearby. And yeah, so he's dead, and everyone loud's like, okay, the Virgin was optional, so we're good. We saved the Earth. And then ring, 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 ring. And it's the boss's phone. Picks it up. Yeah, so the pothead survived. Because drugs? I guess drugs save your life. I didn't know weed could save lives. Weed saves lives, everybody! So the pothead learned when he was dying, but not dying, that he found a way into the laboratory where all this stuff was happening. So once he like gets back with the Virgin person, he's like, come on, let's go. And they go into the lab, and they get in there, and they basically end up getting cornered in this control room. got the guards like shooting at him, like trying to kill them and all that stuff, and because they're still gonna need to be sacrificed at some point. So they realize, oh wait, there's a button right here that releases all the monsters. And they push it! And we get like this like 1 second of like, uh-oh. And then the elevators to the area they're in open. And the most beautiful bloodbath just happens. It's so just gory and bloody and just, it's just a little mini pond of blood. It's wonderful. They manage to get out of there. They're like trying to run through the lab. They come across like some of the main lab scientist guys who are like in charge of everything, and they see them get killed. There's like one dude who got killed by like a unicorn, which is so sad. Unicorns are supposed to be friendly, but their horns are deadly. And also, one of the lead scientists always wanted to see a mer person. We're gonna say mer person because we don't want to put gender specifics on this.
You should talk, Aquaman.
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. Oh, man, I'm sorry.
He had the conch in his
I know,
hands.
you know, in a couple more minutes, who knows what might have happened.
I am never gonna see a merman. Ever. I just think it would have been cooler with a merman.
So he wanted to see a mer person, and of course it finally happens, and it's the thing that kills him. So it's very poetic. Beautiful. So everyone's like dying around them. They finally get to like the main room, and that's where they discover we were part of a sacrifice, and all the little symbols represent each of our friends, the scholar, jock, etc., etc. And then Sigourney Weaver pops up, and she's like, oh, hi. Take this gun and kill yourself, please. We need to save the world. And they're like, nah. So they shoot her, she falls into the little pits of hell, and the gods are like, okay, we didn't get our sacrifice in time, so we're just gonna destroy the world. And they're like, wanna smoke a joint? She's like, screw it, let's do it. And as everything collapses around them, the world is like about to go into chaos and destruction, they're just smoking a joint. Seems like a fun way to go out. But that's how it ends, and we don't get to see any of the destruction, but it's implied, I guess. But it's a really good movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies, and it's not really so much scary, but it is kind of cool to see like a lot of the ideas that they had as far as like scary things like the zombies and just like different references to different other things. It's really cool, and I would definitely recommend you give it a watch. There are like some minute details that I glossed over, but like I said, it's really good. The actors are amazing. Chris Hemsworth wasn't even cast as Thor when they filmed it, so this was actually the movie that got him the job, because Joss was like, oh hey, this guy could be your Thor. And of course, Fran Kranz is one of the most underrated actors of the Whedonverse, because he's been in a lot of Whedon's stuff, but never gets any credit. And actually, another fun tip, there's actually a scene where they're all like going like in their underwear, going to swim in the lake, and they made it to where like, nah, I'm a pothead, I don't really want to do that stuff. The real reason they didn't have him go in is because he was more ripped than Chris Hemsworth. Yes. This skinny looking pothead was actually more ripped than Thor. Let that sink in. But anyway, just go watch it. It's a great movie, and also do watch the commentary. It's very insightful. Alright, well, if you like this, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want me to review next. We're getting towards the end of our Halloween, and I actually believe that next week we will be releasing our horror short film. It'll be good. It'll be really good. Alright, well, I'll see you losers next time. Bye.